Welcome everyone. We're going to start seated today. So go ahead and find a comfortable seat. Maybe sitting up on a block or a folded blanket or a bolster. Getting that little lift in the hips if you feel like you need it today. And then just take a moment here to find any movement that you might need. I always feel like I need a little bit of movement to settle into my body to kind of arrive in this space on the mat. So just take a moment, maybe to just drop the chin to the chest, maybe roll the head a little, or maybe nod up and down, maybe taking a full stretch through the hands, rolling the shoulders, whatever you need. Just taking a moment to arrive. And then when you feel like you're ready, go ahead and find a place of stillness. Sit up nice and tall. And then allow the eyes to soften or to close. If you're just softening the eyes today, you don't feel comfortable closing them, that's fine. Just find one point on the floor a few feet in front of you to rest your gaze lightly. Beginning to tune into the rhythm of your breath. Beginning to deepen it gently. Beginning to set aside anything that happened before you arrived on your mat. Anything from earlier this morning, anything that happened yesterday, anything from this past week. And then notice if you have any thoughts of things to come, of the holidays, of family. These are all good thoughts. But even if they're good, you're back on the side. If they're important, they'll be there for you to pick up after your class. Continuing to deepen the breath. Seeing if you can draw it all the way down into the belly. And beginning to check in with the lower half of your body. So feeling the tailbone really rooting into whatever it is you're sitting on. So that might be a block, it might be a blanket, it might just be the floor. Really beginning to feel the tailbone growing heavier, the hips growing more and more grounded. And feeling the knees begin to release to gravity. Really feeling that solid connection to the mat, to the floor, to the earth beneath that. And reminding yourself for a moment that you're in a safe space. Your mat is always there for you. Your yoga practice will always support. This is a safe place to be, to breathe. And then instead of setting an intention or a dedication, I invite you to take a moment to consider at least one thing in your life that you're grateful for. It can be something small, it can be something large, whatever comes up. Just taking a moment to really feel that gratitude, notice where you feel it in the body. See if you can really connect that. And give yourself one more deep, deep, full breath here to feel this gratitude, to feel this grounding in the body, in this safe space. And then slowly begin to find some movement in the fingers and the toes. Maybe rotating the wrists gently. And when you're ready, allowing the eyes to open. And let's just shrug the shoulders up to the ears and then slide them down the back. 2 more times. Reach the shoulders up to the ears and then roll them down and back. And 1 more time. Reach them up and let them go. And let's go ahead and wrap the fingertips, or as much of the hands as you can reach, around the front of your knees. So wherever it is that you're sitting, if your legs are not crossed, you can also just press gently into the tops of your thighs. You really want to be grounded still in the hips. And we're going to move through some seated cat-cow. And we're going to take it in a circle, nice and slow. So on your inhale, rotate forward, think cow, dropping the belly, opening the heart, and on your exhale, rounding back, chin drops to the chest, and moving in a nice slow circle, moving with your breath, inhaling to come forward and exhaling to round back. You're using the hands on the legs as a little bit of a grounding here. So the whole body is not just rounding and moving. You're moving a little bit in the hips, but your base is pretty stable. So moving through this cat-cow nice and slow with your breath. Let's do 1 more circle in this direction. And then reverse whenever you're ready, circling the other way. Seeing if you can keep the breath and the movement nice and smooth. And 1 more circle this way. And then come back to central, come back to that neutral spine. We're going to do some side bends here, so it's up to you if you want to keep whatever it is that you're sitting on. I'm going to go ahead and move my bolster aside because it's a little tall. All right. So from your comfortable seat, let's go ahead and take the left hand outside the hip. And then we're going to send the right hand up and over. So that right hip is nice and heavy. That right leg is heavy and anchoring you down. And then on your inhale, open the chest as much as feels comfortable towards the ceiling. And exhale, rounding down towards the floor. And inhale to open. And exhale to round. 1 more. Inhale, open. And exhale to round. And then let's sit up and we'll move into the other side. So right hand comes outside the right hip, left fingertips float up. Left hip is nice and heavy and grounded still. And on your inhale, open the chest, small rotation. And exhale, rounding your chest down towards the floor. And inhale to open. And exhale to round. 1 more time. Inhale to open. And exhale to round. And then come up again. And let's come into child's pose. So take your time arriving. If child's pose is not feeling comfortable for your knees, come into puppy pose where you keep the hips lifted instead. You can feel free to use blocks here to give you a little lift if you need. I've actually been really enjoying putting a block under my forehead in child's pose. So feel free to play around with that. So finding your comfortable child's pose or puppy posture. If the shoulders are feeling tight today, go ahead and bend the elbows more. Take them out to the edges of your mat. So if you're in child's pose, you're thinking about dropping the hips down, feeling that weight in the tailbone still. But don't worry about it if the hips are nowhere near the heels, that's totally fine. If your hips are lifted in puppy posture, just feel every other part of you that's touching the mat, the arms, the legs, the feet. Maybe closing your eyes here for a couple of breaths. Feeling this gentle surrender of your body to the mat. And then if it feels comfortable, take your time, go ahead and walk your hands over to the right side of the mat. So if you have a block in the way, you may have to adjust it first, that's fine. And if you'd like, you can place your left palm on top of the right hand. Release the head, find your side bend. Feet are still nice and rooted into your mat. And then walk the hands through center, over to the left. Right palm on top this time if it's comfortable. Breathing into the right side body, soften the face. And then walk the hands back to center and take a moment to lift the hips and curl your toes under. So whether you're in puppy pose or in child's pose, really see if you can curl all 10 toes under on the mat. And then nice and slow, just start to walk the hands back a little bit. So we're going to sit back a little towards our heels. If this is too intense of a stretch for you, go ahead and sit further forward. So we're just trying to get into the feet a little bit. Give it one more breath wherever you are. And then slowly walk the hands forward again so you're back in table. Untuck the toes and maybe pound them out a little bit on the mat. So give them a little bit of a kick there on your mat. All right. So we're going to thread the needle, and I'm going to use a block again so that I can get kind of a lift. I've been having some tightness in the shoulders, so if you're feeling that way as well, a block under the ear, whichever ear is down, can really make a difference. So from table, inhale, right fingertips reach. And exhale, thread your needle. Head can land on the floor or on the block. That left arm can stay where it is. It can also extend further forward. And if you'd like, you can even extend that left leg, pressing into the toes. Making sure you're still breathing. Feeling that stability in the body from all the points of contact with your mat. Give it one more breath. And then slowly release the knee if it was lifted. Draw that left hand back if it was extended. Press back up to table. And we'll take the other side. So on your inhale, left fingertips reach. And exhale, thread the needle. Oops. I've got to make way for my mic. All right. So find your comfortable version on this side. Maybe you're extending the leg, maybe you're extending the arm, maybe you're not. Seeing if you can find ease just a little bit more wherever you are. breathing into the back of the left shoulder, into the whole right side body. Give it one more deep, deep breath. And then nice and slow, start to come out of it, rebending the arm and leg if you need to. And if you are using a block, let's keep it nearby. It doesn't have to be directly on the mat, but within reach. So we're going to curl the toes under. We're going to lift the hips. Excuse me just for a sec. We're going to lift the hips up and back, coming into downward dog. And maybe take your dog for a little walk today, bending one knee at a time. Maybe shake the head a little, yes and no. Really feel all 10 knuckles on the fingers, all 10 toes pressing into your mat. And then bend the knees, look up at your hands. Take a nice slow walk or just step up to meet your hands, coming into your forward fold. And maybe clasping opposite elbows. Maybe find a gentle sway side to side. Bending the knees as much as you need to. And then releasing the hands. Let's grab our block. We're going to take it right into the center. And then go ahead and step your feet as wide as your yoga mat. Left hand is going to come onto the block. We're going to bend that left knee. Right leg is still straight. And on your inhale, right fingertips are lifting for your twist. And then slowly release. Right hand comes onto the block in the center. Bend that right knee. And inhale, left fingertips reach. And then slowly release. Come back into your fold. Walk the feet a little bit closer together, about hip distance now. Bend the knees generously. Start a slow roll up, drawing the belly button towards the spine, pressing through your feet. Take your time. Eventually the chin will lift. And once you're standing, go ahead and make any adjustments you need to. You want to keep your block nearby, but you don't need it on your mat right now. All right. So come up into your mountain pose. Excuse me, I'm going to grab a drink of water. In the winter, our throats get a little bit dry from the heat, so feel free to hydrate as much as you need. I can see I'm not the only one. That's good. All right. So from our mountain, let's inhale, reach the arms up. Press the palms together and float them down to the heart. Let's reverse. Palms press together, lift, and exhale, open the arms wide and down. 2 more times. Inhale, reach, and exhale, hands together at the heart. Inhale, palms up. Exhale, open wide. 1 more time. Inhale to reach tall. And exhale, hands down to the heart. And inhale, hands up. Exhale, open them wide and down. And then take a moment, close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing that in this mountain. Arms are down by the sides. You can also take the hands together at the heart if that's more comfortable for your shoulders. And then moving up the body, start with your feet. Maybe shifting the weight a little side to side, front and back. Noticing where you're holding the weight in your feet. See if you can even it out. Really feel the legs engage, but soften the knees. Make sure you're not locking them. Feel a gentle tug down of the tailbone. So releasing it to gravity. Feeling your spine grow nice and long and tall as you come up towards the top of the head. And feeling the shoulders soften down the back. Take one more breath here in your strong mountain pose, feeling so rooted in the feet that if I walked over to you, I wouldn't be able to knock you over no matter what. Not that I'd ever try. And then slowly allow the eyes to open if they were closed. And let's step the feet wide. I'm sorry, no, let's not do that. We're going to step the feet back. So from your mountain, just step the right foot back. We're coming into our warrior one. I was getting a little ahead of myself there. So back toes are turned at a 45-degree angle. Find that bend in the front knee. It can be a very small bend, can be a bigger bend. If you want a bigger bend, scoot that foot forward so the knee and ankle are still stacked. Press through the back heel, really engaging that back leg. Hands can stay on the hips here. They can come together at the heart, or you can reach them up. Warrior one. If you're reaching the arms up, make sure you're not squeezing them into the head. Give yourself lots of space between the arms and the ears. Deep breaths. Feeling really rooted in the feet. Take one more breath if you'd like. You can lift the chest and forehead, little back bend. And then slowly release the hands down. We're going to move into pyramid. So make sure that you've got your block. I set mine a little bit aside, so if you need to come out of warrior one, go ahead. And then come right back into it. Set your block down. This time this front leg is going to be straightened. So when you're all set, inhale, extend through the spine. Exhale, start to fold, so you're hinging at the hips. Chest is dropping down. Hands can land on the thigh or on the shin or on blocks or one block at any height. And you can, of course, also come all the way down to the floor. So be sure if you're feeling any pain or pinching in the left knee, the forward leg, go ahead and bend that knee. Ultimately, we're trying to work to straighten it as much as possible. That's how you're going to get that nice, lovely stretch in the back of the leg. But please go ahead and bend it if it is feeling uncomfortable. Softening the head and neck. Give it one more breath here. And then rebend that left leg. Walk the hands back up to the top of the thigh. Press through the feet and hands to come all the way up. Step that back foot forward. And take a moment to shake out the legs if you need to. And we're going to move into the other side. So take a big step back with the left foot. Setting up your warrior one. Back toes are at an angle, so they're not pointing straight forward or straight out to the side. Make sure the hips are squared to your mat, and then find that bend in the front knee. Pressing that back heel down, really activating that whole back leg. Chest is nice and lifted. And you can stay right here. You can take the hands to the heart, or you can lift them up. Let's take 3 breaths in this warrior one, strong in both feet. The hands are lifted, but see if you can relax the shoulders if your arms are up. Take one more breath. Maybe find a tiny lift in the chest and forehead. And then slowly release the hands. Let's straighten through the front leg. Inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale to start to fold into your pyramid. So hips are going back. Releasing the hands wherever it's comfortable. Remembering you can always bend into that forward leg. And softening the head and neck as much as is possible. Deep, deep, full breaths into the back of that leg. Taking a moment here to surrender to gravity, to surrender to the breath. And taking one more deep, full breath wherever you are. And then rebending that front knee. Taking the hands to the top of the thigh, pressing through the feet and hands to come all the way up. Take as many steps as you need to get that back foot forward. Go ahead and shake out the legs. All right. So let's go ahead and grab our strap. You may still want your block nearby, just in case you're not going to be using the strap. You can also use a towel or a folded blanket. A thin one will work better for this. So we're going to step our feet nice and wide. And we're going to take a fold here. So I like to have my strap doubled. When I'm using it for this, it kind of makes me feel like I have more to hang on to. So we're going to take it behind us. And we're going to draw the shoulder blades together, draw the knuckles down. So I'm going to turn around so you can see what I'm doing. So the closer my hands are together on the strap, the more intense that stretch is going to be in my shoulders. Actually, that's kind of uncomfortable for me. The wider the hands are on the strap, the more space you're going to have to move in the arms and shoulders. So find whatever feels good for you. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, draw the knuckles down towards the floor. Inhale, lift the chest. And exhale, start to hinge at the hips. Bend the knees a little bit as you send the hips back, reaching the arms up overhead. If this is too intense for your shoulders, you can please feel free to drop the strap, even to just release the hands down to a block or the floor. So knuckles are reaching towards the ceiling, shoulder blades squeezing together. Give it one more breath. And then engage the core, engage the feet. Imagine I'm pulling on your hands to bring you all the way back up. You can also release the hands and use them to help you walk up the legs. And then release your strap. Go ahead and set it aside. And let's inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, find a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands come to the legs for support. Exhale, soften and fold. Inhale, take a slow roll up, bending the knees generously. Let's do that one more time, loosening everything up again. Inhale, reach. Exhale, hands come together, take them down the center line as you fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, nice slow roll up, really bending the knees, pressing into the feet. And finding your strong mountain. All right. So let's grab our block one more time. And we're going to come into that forward fold again. So nice wide legs, block comes into the center. We'll do one more twist for the spine and then we'll take it down. So hands come to the hips. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, start to send your tailbone back. Bending the knees a little, nice strong feet. Releasing the hands to the block or to the floor. Just take a moment here to let the neck go. Maybe even shake the head gently, yes and no. And then let's take the left hand onto the block. And inhale, right fingertips reach. Notice if your hips are trying to reach out to the side. See if you can square them. That might mean you have to bring the arm down a little. That's fine. And then slowly release. Right hand comes to the block. Inhale, keep the hips straight as you reach the left hand up. And then slowly release. Let's drop the head just for a second. Breathing here into the backs of both legs. And then take the hands to the tops of the thighs, press through the feet, come all the way back up. All right, very nice, everyone. You can put the block aside. Let's inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, find your fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, let it go. Bend the knees, plant the hands, step to downward dog. Take one breath here, drawing the shoulders away from the ears, building a little bit of strength in the legs and the arms, getting a nice full body stretch. And then release the knees. Find child's pose or puppy pose. Really surrendering the body to the earth. Maybe rocking the forehead a little on the mat or on the block if you're using one. And letting your heart center melt down. Taking a moment here to remember what it was that you thought of at the beginning of your class that you felt grateful for. See if you can bring that feeling into the body again. Really feeling the support of your mat here. Creating this safe space for you to soften and release, feeling this grounding energy of the earth. Feeling how your body is connected to it by gravity. Give yourself one more deep, deep breath. And then nice and slow, start to walk the hands back. And let's come up on our knees. If you need to pad the knees, please do. So we're just coming up with our knees parallel, our feet parallel. Take a moment to look back behind you. Make sure the feet are pointing straight back from the knee. And then let's take the hands to the back of the hips. So imagine that you have back pockets you're tucking your hands into. And then first start with the pelvis. Start to press the hips forward. And then start to lengthen the top of the head. So really pressing the hips forward now as if you were pressing them into a wall. Trying to squeeze the elbows towards each other. And then if you'd like, maybe finding just a slight back bend in the upper back, maybe lifting the chin just a little bit. Really pressing the hips forward. If you'd like to go a little further, you can start to lean back just a little bit. Modified camel, opening the heart. Take one more breath. And then press through the legs, the feet, to bring yourself all the way back up. Release the hands. Just drop into a table. And let's send the hips to the right. Look over your left shoulder. And come back to center. Send the hips left. Look over the right shoulder. Or opposite if that's what I just said. Come back to center. Let's come to a seat. Go ahead and grab your strap or towel. You're going to need it for this sequence. And let's extend the legs long. So from your seat, maybe take a little windshield wipers with the feet. Maybe flex and point the toes. And then go ahead and leave that left leg extended, flex the toes on that foot, and draw the right knee in. So right knee bends. And let's just leave it on the inside of the thigh today. Sometimes I offer to let you cross it over. If you absolutely want to do that, you can. Feel free. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. And exhale, we're going to take that right hand behind the hip. So this left hand you're kind of using to hug the hip in, to hug the knee in towards the chest to make sure that knee's not falling out to the side. So finding your twist to the right. Left toes are nice and actively flexed. And give it one more breath. And then slowly come back to center. Let's drop that right knee out to the side. And then go ahead and open that left leg a little bit. So you're giving yourself kind of a wider space. I'm going to rotate so you can see what my legs are doing. If your foot and leg are not connecting, that's totally fine. If you want them to connect, you're certainly welcome to do that. Left toes are still flexed. Let's go ahead and grab our strap and take it around the bottom of the left foot. And inhale, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, start to fold. So drawing the chest forward towards that leg. Softening the head and neck, softening the forehead, maybe even closing the eyes here. You're certainly welcome to walk the hands further down the strap or release the strap or the towel and hold on to the leg. Maybe closing the eyes here, feeling this grounding in the hips, this stretch through the whole back body. Using the exhales to help you soften. Give it one more breath. And then draw the belly button in. Slowly from your center, start to roll up. You can release the strap and set it aside. We're going to switch sides. So right leg is going to extend long. Left knee is bent. You're hugging that left knee in. Right toes are flexed. Oops, I got to give myself a little bit more room here. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, we're going to twist to the left. So left hand comes behind. Right hand is kind of wrapping around the knee to help bring it in towards the chest. Sitting up nice and tall, breathing up and down the spine. Give it one more breath. And then nice and slow, come back to center. We're going to open that left knee out to the side. So you're dropping the knee. And again, open that right foot if that feels good for you. So we want to create a little bit of space here. And then grab your strap, take it around that right foot. So you're kind of dialing the heart center over that extended leg. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, start to fold. Draw the chest down towards the leg. Go nice and slow. Each side is different. So this side I'm a little bit tighter on. I'm not going to go as far into the stretch, at least at first. I'm going to pause and breathe into the tight places. And then after a couple of breaths, you may find you can go a little deeper, or you may discover that this is where you need to stay. Listening to your body. Finding that gentle tuck of the chin to lengthen the neck. Give it one more deep, deep, full breath. And then draw the belly button towards the spine. Slowly start to roll up. And you can set the strap aside. And we're going to come onto our back. So take your time. So make sure you have your block nearby, or a little pillow or a blanket if you don't have a block. We're going to move into supported bridge in just a moment. Okay, so coming down onto your back. And taking your feet as wide as your yoga mat when you arrive. And then doing some windshield wipers with the knees, nice and slow. And then walking the feet back to hip distance apart. Go ahead and grab your block, press into your feet just enough to lift the hips and slide the block or the pillow or blanket under your sacrum. And then maybe just staying right here. You can also play with where the feet are positioned. We're not going to lift them up quite yet. So just taking a moment here when you first arrive, or you can play with making the feet wider, as wide as your mat. Breathing into the belly. Letting your body relax over the block. Finding a little tiny lift of the chin up towards the ceiling. And then maybe staying here and breathing. Or maybe you decide to take legs up the block. You can lift the feet up towards the ceiling. You may need to adjust where the block is placed if you're doing that. Usually I have to slide it up a little bit. You can also just play with lengthening one leg at a time, bending one knee. Finding any gentle movement that feels good. Maybe just staying with both legs bent. And you can take the splits even with the knees bent or with the legs straight. Maybe find ankle rolls, lots and lots of options for movement here. Just make sure you're moving nice and slow. And then either stay in stillness or in movement, or I'm going to offer you one more option. We haven't done this before on the block, so go nice and slow. If it doesn't feel right for you, please back out of it. We're going to bend the knees and hug that right knee as close to your chest as possible, and extend the left leg long on the block. So that left leg is going to be nice and strong, so you're going to flex the left toes. And I'm just using one hand on either side of my leg, kind of behind the thigh, to draw that right knee in. And then if it feels good, you can open the right knee just slightly out to the right. So we're kind of getting more into the hip muscles here a little bit, into what keeps the low back tight. If this does not feel comfortable for you, please come out of it. Give it one more breath wherever. And then slowly take that right knee back to center, release the foot to the mat, and hug the left knee in. If you're still just moving through your legs up the block, that's totally fine. So left knee in, we're going to extend that right leg long, flexing through the foot, pressing that right thigh down towards your mat, hugging the left knee in, and maybe opening it a little bit to the left. Not so much that you're falling off your block, using your core muscles for a little bit of stabilization here, stabilizing. Breathing wherever you are. Take one more breath. And then draw that left knee back to center. Release the foot to the mat. Rebend the right knee. And everyone press through the feet to lift the hips and remove the block. And then roll down nice and slow through the spine. When your hips land, go ahead and draw the knees into the chest. Maybe rock a little side to side. Maybe take the knees in a nice slow circle. And then make sure you reverse the direction. And then let's go ahead and release the feet to the mat and cross that right knee over the left knee. So as if you were sitting in a chair with your legs crossed. And then press through the left foot, shift your hips a little bit over to the right. And then when you're ready, we're going to drop both knees over to the left. So a little bit of a different supine twist today. If this is too much on you, go ahead and find any other version that feels better. Right arm can open out to the side. If you'd like, you can take the chin over to the right as well, only if that feels good on the neck. Breathing into that outer right hip, the low back. And give it one more deep, full breath wherever you are. And then slowly take the chin back to center if it was turned. Engage the core to help you bring the knees back up. And then scoot the hips back to center. Uncross the legs, take the feet wide, and do some windshield wipers. And then we'll take the other side. So take the feet back to center, cross that left leg over, left knee over the right knee. Press into the right foot, just enough to scooch the hips over to the left. And then when you're ready, drop both knees over to the right. Left arm can open out to the side. And you're not really trying to get your knees all the way down. If your knees are uncomfortable just hanging out here, you can always put a pillow or a blanket or a bolster or a block underneath them. But you're just trying to open the outside of that left hip, getting into the low back, the side body a little. And give it one more deep, full breath here. And then bring the chin back to center if the head was turned. And go ahead and draw the belly button in to bring the knees back to center. Scoot your hips back as well. Uncross your legs. And then take windshield wipers one more time. So before you head into your Shavasana, take a moment to give yourself the gift of whatever other pose you might need. So maybe that's drawing both knees into the chest, taking a different type of twist. Maybe you want to drop the knees out to the side with the feet together and reclined butterfly. Maybe happy baby would feel good. Or maybe just a full body stretch. So take a moment to find whatever it is that the body is telling you that it needs before heading into Shavasana. Staying with your breath wherever you are. And then moving into your final resting pose whenever you're ready. Remembering that you can be supported by props. You can keep the knees bent, or you can extend the legs long. Allowing the eyes to soften or close when you arrive. Feeling that grounding of the back body. Feeling the mat rising up to meet you, and the floor beneath. And let's all take a deep, deep, full breath into the belly. Open the mouth, sigh it out. Inhale, deep, deep, full breath in. Exhale, let something go. One more time. Deepest breath you've taken all morning. Really fill the whole body. And sigh, let everything go. And feel the gentle pull of gravity here. Returning once again to the idea that your mat is a very safe space. A space where you can soften and release anything you've been holding on to. Not just in the body, but in the heart, in the mind as well. Feeling anything that's been weighting you down and beginning to drain away into your mat, into the earth, being dissolved. Feeling the front body soften and open, ready to receive any new energy that comes your way. And begin to slowly bring your attention back to your breath. And beginning to deepen it, feeling the belly expand and gently contract. And gently taking one hand to the heart and one to the belly. And taking a moment here of gratitude to yourself for showing up, for your practice, for your breath, and for recommitting to self-care every time you step on the mat, no matter how often you do it. Beginning to find any movement that feels good in the fingers and toes, maybe rolling the wrists, pointing and flexing the feet. Maybe taking a full body stretch if it's calling you, or drawing the knees into the chest. And when you're ready, bending the knees if they aren't already, making your way onto one side. And gently pressing yourself back up to a seat. Making any adjustments you need to when you arrive. And sitting up nice and tall. Noticing how you're feeling at the end of your practice. Returning one more time to that feeling of grounding in the hips, in the tailbone, in the legs. Drawing that sense of stability, of strength up from the earth into your body, letting it move with you through the rest of your day, remembering that you're always connected. If it feels good, you can draw the hands together at the heart. I thank you so much for practicing with me. Namaste.